Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode with the one and only Matt Prisco here. We're going to talk some 4A, some football. It's nothing better, nothing in the world better. Matt, how you doing?
I
Talk to me,
know,
buddy.
man. Honestly, I'm excited we actually can do this week. It's been kind of a schedule struggle. We both have very unfortunate roadblocks in our life called jobs, but we're pulling it off, and I'm really excited for this week. Going to try and shake things up a little bit, go a little different than the just typical weekly reviews, and talk very specifically about some huge topics in the sport, big picture topics that we've seen kind of play out this year. So this should be a fun episode.
One of those topics I'd like to talk about for sure, you guys know, is this club right here, Liverpool Football Club. We are currently second place with 16 points, have a goal difference of 10. We've allowed the second least amount of goals in the Premier League. Um,
I know.
We've been playing very well in all aspects, even with injuries, with the red card suspensions. Matt, I want you to go first because you're not a biased Liverpool fan like me. How do you feel about this club?
Yeah, I mean, if you remember at the beginning of the season, and I didn't necessarily think things would come into form this quickly, um, but I said that Liverpool would be the only club, if there is a club, that could chase Manchester City for the title. And the reason why I said that in particular, well, there's like two main reasons. Number one, I think if you look at the players that Liverpool have, they have more players than any other competing Premier League side that for the most part are going to show up that day.
Mhm.
Um, like the Salahs of the world, the Trent Alexander-Arnolds of the world, right? Like those guys will show up. They will have great games. Even Lucho Diaz these days, I feel like when he's healthy, he's unbelievable. Um, they have more of those types of players than almost any other team. And then just I feel like the mentality that Jurgen Klopp's instilled in this club, like even in the past few seasons when it hasn't been as great and they haven't been fighting for titles, you still see that mentality in some of these huge games. So that's why I thought they would do well. I did think there were some questions and some serious holes, particularly lacking a six. But they've answered the bell so far. I would say before I turn it back over to you, the only reason I potentially take caution is their biggest wins so far were a ballsy win against Newcastle with 10 men. Uh, and a good win against West Ham, thorough victory, same deal against Villa. Those have been the big victories so far. So still have to play some of the big boys, but loving what I'm seeing so far in this new system from Klopp, which we'll talk more about the how he's made some tactical changes this year that have really made a huge difference. But obviously, would love to hear from your perspective. What you've thought about this season too.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, I can't. What were we? 17 games undefeated right now in the Premier League. I mean, it's
It's incredible.
very good to see. But like you said, we haven't played any big guys yet this year. So I would love to see how players like Soboslai, McAllister, all those guys do fit into our side against, first of all, Big Ange this weekend. And he's obviously had a great start with Spurs. They're currently in fourth right now, just two
How
points.
exciting is this game? I'm sorry to cut you off, but you mention it now. Like, have you been this excited? And the Liverpool Tottenham games have been pretty good, but I am so excited for this game.
I was I'm more excited than I was for Newcastle, and I was very excited for Newcastle. I was like, I hope we show these like frauds who we are, bro. And remember I was texting you guys, and I was like, oh my god, when Van Dijk got the red, I was fuming. I was like, I haven't been this mad in a long time about a game. And then obviously Darwin comes on and scores a freaking brace to win it. But yeah, this is a huge game, and these next two games, excluding the cup fixture tomorrow against Leicester in the Carabao Cup, dude, Spurs away. And I think Brighton is also away. I could be wrong though. Let me see. Brighton is also away. So Spurs and Brighton away. Those you talk about a litmus test. That I mean, that's
For
big
the
time.
for the Premier League, it really is. No
Yeah.
no teams playing better beside Manchester City, obviously. No teams playing better than Spurs. And when you talked about that Newcastle game, you should probably have been more excited for that game than this one. Because if you look at how Spurs are playing, they sit back and then with fucking speed are able to just counterattack. Newcastle is super patient. Obviously, we've seen some of those counterattacks from them, but the way that they played this season, they've been super patient, super methodical, and pretty conservative, I think.
That's
Um,
always been Big Ange's style, though. It's just keep firing on the gun. Like when he brings in Madison, who last year wasn't really on it, and like obviously Leicester got relegated, it shows that if he had those quality players like Heung-min Son around him, then he would have thrived regardless. Because I mean, you look how good he's playing right now. It's I mean, it's
And in the
incredible.
system too, right? Like, and in the system, I really do think it fits James Madison and his positive qualities. Like, it fits perfectly with this Tottenham counterattacking system. And like, yeah, they do have to play with the ball a little bit, keep possession a little bit at times too. But I just think this game is going to be just end to end, back and forth. And now we'll get to how Liverpool are playing, but the way that the two styles kind of contrast, or the way they're almost similar, in a sense too. Like, I think this is going to make for such an exciting game.
Dude, so excited. I have a problem with the Premier League though. Why did they schedule the North London Derby the same time Liverpool game? I wanted to be locked into both. I had to have my North London Derby on the computer and watching Liverpool on the TV, but
It's so dumb, dude. It's just so inexcusable. Like, they have to know that that's a bad business move, right? As soon as they put that in the schedule, no?
dude, in the UK, there's Liverpool game was not on TV. There's do they have these things called blackouts in UK where some games just don't get shown on television. Like you have to like subscribe to like the teams like streaming. How is the game being played in England and not being shown, but we can see it in the US? Like it's incredible to me.
I've heard from some people that NBC's coverage of the Premier League in the United States is like better than some of the coverage that like a Sky or whatever
For
that
sure.
does, which is so funny.
But yeah, dude, back to Liverpool's play style and how they've been playing. I mean, like I said in the group chat this weekend, obviously McAllister is not at his best quality, or he's limited, his abilities are being limited at the sixth position, but it's still working. And like you look at McAllister, who's like kind of that deep line playmaker, you hear that term quite a lot, and he could spring the ball like we saw this weekend to Nunez over the top. But even then, I want to highlight someone who's been kind of hated, not appreciated by Liverpool fans, and that's Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones, I want to highlight how first of all, he's a Merseyside, he's a Scouser. He comes in from the youth academy. He has been arguably our best presser in the midfield since last year. Does it again this weekend. The way he retains possession and recycles possession. I don't want to get too technical with these terms, like how people on Twitter talk about like field tilt. What the hell is that? But
No, we ain't tacticos. We know the
yeah,
game. We know the
yeah.
game how we see it, but we ain't trying to be Twitter tacticos.
The way he holds onto the ball, he holds up play. Like I said, his pressing is so key in many moments of the game. I think he's perfect alongside Soboslai and McAllister. Obviously, I'd rather have Thiago there when he's healthy because
Mhm.
Thiago, we just know what he's like. But I just want to appreciate Curtis Jones for what he's doing. But I love Soboslai. I mean, I think he's everyone's favorite player right now besides Salah and Alisson. Like the kid's playing out of his mind. He won Player of the Month for us in August. So I mean, what can I say, Matt? I'm a very happy guy. I'm just excited for these upcoming games.
Yeah, I mean, you should be. And I think you should be excited to see what was kind of the complaint about Jurgen Klopp in the past like year or so. It's like, why hasn't he innovated? Why hasn't he changed the team? And if you look at it, obviously Trent's injured now, but inverted wing back, um, or inverted fullback, excuse me, looking to be phenomenal. Like, even Joe Gomez is kind of doing some of
Dude,
it
he had a game.
in the game that he stepped in for Trent. But right, they've done that. They've given Spolazai, who's like a converted winger, this eight position with little freedom to move into wider positions and get forward a lot. Like, the defense is looking significantly more compact. I think like only 5 goals allowed this season with 15 scored. So you just have to be happy with you having Jurgen Klopp, arguably the best coach in the world right now. And I mean, I think it's a lot of most people would probably say Pep, but my argument back to that is, if you have everything at your disposal, right? Like, you should be winning a lot. The comeback to that is that he's winning everything all the time. So either way, I think by the end of the season, we'll see who's the top dog. Because even if Liverpool finish close, it's going to be a win for Klopp. Um, but yeah, man, I just give him tons of credit. That was a big complaint for a long time from Liverpool fans. Like, when is he gonna change things up? Boom. He's changed things up, and I think Liverpool look, with the mentalities that we know they have, with the talent that we know they have. I think you guys are going to be in an amazing place in a few months. It's going to feel very real like the title could be actually fought for.
Dude, all those Klopp out nerds piss me the hell off on Twitter. You
It's
guys,
just dorky. Yeah, it's dorky. It's something we got to talk about on these podcasts. And they're like, you and I, right? Like we've just loved this game since we were little kids. We've been watching since we were little kids. So we've seen different generations. We've gotten smarter, obviously, about the game, learned who to like follow and who to help us like study what happened. But also, I think we've got a decent eye for it as well because we're passionate about it. And nothing pisses me off more than reading some of the opinions online from people who just like they clearly feel like they have to make a big take to show everybody that they're smarter than you are. And it's so obvious that you need to do this. And it's like anybody who said like Klopp out, it's like, what could have been your justification for that? Like, I don't really know. But
it blows my mind, dude. Blows my mind. And like some of the like this those same type of like freaking dorks we're talking about Klopp out, the same ones that are like, guys, we have to bring in Jared Bowen as a sellout replacement, brother.
Jared Bowen. If you aren't bringing anybody other than like a Leal level player, if Salah somehow left, it's like you are going to go back to failing. Like Liverpool will fail if that's the mentality. So it's thank God those people aren't running the club.
100%, bro. Tell the people what we're going to talk about next, my friend. What is on your mind?
Dude, well, I think what's on my mind is something that's been on a lot of people's mind, especially now with some of the rumors coming up about Xabi Alonso. But Bayer Leverkusen, man, what a season they've had so far. They are 23, 11, and 10 with 92 goals scored, if I'm correct, under Xabi Alonso. I mean, that is an absolutely unbelievable achievement. And oh, they have a lot of guys with talent. I mean, you really can't deny that. But if you look at Florian Wirtz suffered a really serious injury. Now he's coming back looking all the player we expected him to be. Um, Jeremy Frimpong, I mean, you could really make an argument watching him this season. He's on form, the best right back in the world right now. No disrespect to your boy Trent. I'm saying just on form right now when
He's incredible. He's incredible.
he's playing absolutely unbelievable. And then Victor Boniface, or did I get that name right? His first
Yeah,
name.
yeah, I think
I thought
so.
I did. Well, I only was tripping just because it's Victor Osimhen, also Nigerian. And I'm like, did I? Yeah, okay. So Boniface has kind of been the guy that I didn't know as much about this season. He is a beast. Brace last week, slick turn on his first goal. Um, I mean, I've seen him score quite a few different types of goals this season, and just like looks a complete player too. So really, really love how he's gotten the best out of them. And then you look at Grimaldo and Xhaka, two signings who it's like pretty veteran players fit like absolute gloves into this team. So far, they've drew Bayern 2-2, beat Leipzig 3-2. So they're playing well in the big games. I mean, it's just very clearly the influence of Xabi Alonso. He's run this kind of 4-2-3-1 formation that can break into a 3-4-3. And I think now moving subjects, and obviously you add whatever you like from just your takeaways of watching Leverkusen this season. But I just think with that formation, with what he's done so far, with some of the younger players that I mentioned earlier, he's just a perfect fit to go to Real Madrid and become their next coach. Tons of rumors of it, and I want to get to what I think that Real Madrid team will look like. But first, like any thoughts from you as far as like watching Leverkusen? And I know I kind of hogged the time on that topic a little bit, but
Everything you said, brother. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. I mean, this team is a beautifully constructed side. We're talking about Florian Wirtz, my Moroccan. I mean, Adli, salam alaikum, brother. We got Victor Boniface, Xhaka coming in with that veteran presence. He's a winner. He's been there before. You know that he dies for the badge every time.
playing very well too, dude.
Yep, yep. Frimpong, like you said, Grimaldo, who's won a couple of Portuguese titles with Benfica. I don't have any qualms or like disagreements with this team. I love them. I hope they finally break this stupid Bayern Munich curse. So I'm sick of seeing them win the Bundesliga. So they're currently on they're tied for points, but Bayern is edging them to first over 1 goal difference, I think. Oh
Yeah,
no, three goal difference.
yeah,
But
dude. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I mean, I love the side and I wish them the best in everything besides Europa League. I want the boys.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, I think a lot of people do as well. First of all, Xabi Alonso is one of the more loved players. I mean, you actually remember watching him play, as do I. Um, and he was loved everywhere he went. I mean, I was younger when he played for Liverpool, but I know the affection that the Liverpool fans feel for him. I remember seeing him at Real Madrid, who looked like the coolest dude, not named Andrea Pirlo. Kind of played a little like him too, with that passing range and just overall just coolness on the ball. But and even when he went to Bayern, he was awesome. But so you want to root for him. What makes the story even better to me is how amazing would it be this season when Bayern Munich have got this super mega star in Jamal Musiala, and they bring in Harry Kane, and they've got all this attacking talent, Sane, Coman, Sane, who I don't love as much, but still, Sane, Coman, Gnabry, who I love. And then they've kind of figured out what they need to do with the midfield. It's a little bit of a weak point, but they still have Conrad Leimer, Goretzka, Kimmich, and the back line of Mazraoui, De Ligt, Kim, Davies. Like, this is a super team. If they can upset them, it's truly an unbelievable story. It's not just, oh, they won the Bundesliga in a shit year. Like, if they beat this team, especially bringing in Harry Kane, it's an unbelievable, epic accomplishment. So, the one piece I want to hit on before we move to the next topic, and I just want to talk through this. This is what I think the Real Madrid team could potentially look like with him, right? They'll have Courtois. And keep in mind, by the way, this is with Carlo Ancelotti going to Brazil this upcoming, after this season. Courtois in goal. I bet you he brings Frimpong with him. Militao and Rudiger will probably be the center backs. They probably will have to spend money in one or two other areas, Real Madrid, this upcoming offseason. So you can keep those guys. Plus Alaba, unbelievable depth he can start. There's already been tons of talks that Davies is going to be the guy that they
Yeah,
bring,
yeah.
right? Would make a lot of sense. Midfield of Tchouaméni, Camavinga. I think at this point, you're probably going to see Kroos and Modric on their way out. There's a lot of rumors about that. Maybe Fede Valverde is the sacrifice that they make because ultimately, Bellingham is going to play in the 10,
Mhm.
in that front three. They're going to get Mbappe. And it's going to be Vinny Jr., Mbappe, and then whether they play Rodrigo as a false nine or they go get a real number 9. That's the one piece I don't know. And you again, the sacrifice becomes Fede Valverde in that spot because you need to go out and get that guy. But that's what I think the team would look like. And that would just be unbelievable. And it's a lot of young players too. So with that young manager, you can build this core and improve together. So really, really exciting time, shockingly, for Real Madrid fans coming up.
And dude, on everything I love, dude, I swear to God, when this 2020 during quarantine, me and my brother, I mean, obviously we couldn't go anywhere, so we would play soccer, uh, football on the pavement outside my house, like behind the garage. And there was this little like grass hill, and sometimes I would chip it over the hill to pass it to him, and I would literally like people how they said like Kobe, I would literally go Xabi Alonso, and I'd kick it over the hill. This, like you said, like this guy, his passing range, like he was very influential on like people who just watch ball. Like as a kid, like dude, we all know Xabi Alonso is a baller. This guy, I don't know if you saw this training picture. He's still flying into tackles in training. I don't know
Dude,
if you saw,
yeah. No,
but
yes. That's what dude, this is what I mean. He's picture perfect. It's like back in the day, right? Well, I say back in the day, it wasn't that even that long ago. Zidane used to just hop into these training sessions with these guys. Like that was when Real Madrid had veteran players too. Like, do you know what that would mean for some of these younger guys?
yeah.
Like how fun that would be. Like it's just a match made in heaven. There's no language barrier whatsoever. And I just feel like this is going to be a really, really, really cool project to see over the years. Like not like I need to wish Real Madrid well, but in the end of the day, they're always going to be good. And if they can put together a team like this, like it's going to be one that people probably celebrate for, you know, many years to come. So plus, we don't want to see Jude Bellingham wasted or Kylian Mbappe go to Real Madrid and just never, succeed. So
Yeah. What I was gonna say, first of all, I mean, I would love to see Frimpong even go to Madrid because then it would allow that donut Ronald Koeman to finally stop ignoring him and bring him to the freaking Dutch team.
how
You
hilarious! How hilarious!
oh my God. But I mean, shout out to Dumfries. Dumfries is very good, but I mean,
Yep.
at some point, I think Frimpong is gonna overtake him. But yeah. First of all, with that, and then also what I was thinking, if Mbappe does the ultimate pump fake once again next summer about you know what, I'm gonna stay in Paris. This is my home. Fine, bruv. Have that. Keep Rodrigo, keep Vinny, left wing, right wing.
Hmm.
Imagine they take the chance on Victor Boniface, the nine. If he has this
Yeah.
and he plays with all these top players, that would be wonderful to see. I would love to see that.
Oh, dude. I mean, that was honestly, it's really funny you say that. When I was thinking about that this morning, because obviously that's got to be, you have to at least consider that Mbappe is going to do that.
Mhm.
And if you look at that situation, it will probably lead them to do what you just said. Keep those guys as the wingers because you know that they've been playing for Real Madrid for a while. They can get results. And you go and get, like, I was going to say either Boniface or Victor Osimhen.
Yeah,
And
either would
right,
work.
no, right, either one, right? Like you just take one of these, you know, world class strikers available, but like, yeah, I mean, they're going to be okay. Real Madrid, point being, but that's how I see the project shaping up for them, and I just think it's going to be like so fun to watch, especially with those fullbacks like Davies, Frimpong. Like, can you imagine? Like, it would just be the most exciting attacking team we've ever seen.
If there's
Most
anyone I
maybe.
want to see win, it's Alfonso Davies. I want that
I
guy to win.
love him, dude. I love him so much. Yep.
Shout out to
Like,
Canada's greatest for sure.
yep, no doubt.
Matt, there's one thing I really want to jump into, and that is what is going on in the Netherlands in the capital at Ajax. And that is something that's insane to me. First of all, I want to break this down kind of a little bit background information. Ajax has been kind of on the fringe of like shitty results and like inconsistent play for a long time now, probably for the last year, maybe year and a half. They just haven't gotten it right with their managers, their directors. Van der Sar was apparently, who's a club legend, and I hope he's recovering. I remember he was in that accident, but I saw all over Twitter and reports like Van der Sar was just not doing well as a sporting director, and he was just not putting in the right moves, getting the players they needed. And Dusan Tadic, who was basically their longest tenured player, their number 10, leaves for free this summer out of frustration with the manager. So the manager, who I think his name is Maurice Stein, if I'm not mistaken, and the sporting director, Sven Millingstad, after this game of Ajax and Feyenoord, which we'll get to, they both did like a press conferences and interviews after the game, and they revealed that they're not on speaking terms. Have you ever heard of a sporting director and manager who aren't on speaking terms?
Yeah, it sounds like Juventus.
Yeah. It sounds like Paratici came back from the dead, but dude, I mean, what the hell? And also, let's just break this down. So Ajax, they beat in Greek it would be Heracles, but I don't know how it is in Dutch. They beat Heracles, I'll say that for now. 4-1 as the first Eredivisie game. Their next results, they lost to go ahead Eagles 1-0. They drew with Excelsior 2-2. They drew with Fortuna Sittard. They lost to FC Twente 3-1. They drew, I'll get to that game later. And then they were losing in the first half 3-0 to Feyenoord, 3-0 at home. So then the Ajax fans start throwing fireworks on the pitch and going insane. The match gets suspended. Okay. Then, obviously, after all that chaos happens, when everyone leaves the stadium, the Ajax fans start to break into the ground, the Johan Cruyff Arena, Cruyff, whatever it is. They start breaking the windows, smashing down the doors. And this is an Ajax fan base who also threw that thing at Davy Clausen. Oh no, the
Yeah.
Feyenoord fans threw sharp object that Davy Clausen's head because he was on Ajax at the time, and it started to cut his head. And this is the same, like it's just the Dutch football is insane, bro. The pundits are so reactionary and so harsh on players. The fan base are insane. They're like always doing some crazy shit. And now just Ajax itself is in shambles. And this club who brought us incredible players like Clarence Seedorf, obviously Cruyff, freaking why am I blank? Suarez, like all these type of talents, Ajax you already know, Zlatan. They
I was gonna
have
say
been
Ibra.
yeah, they have been a club of history, of success. And to see them fall this far has been insane to see. Like, for example, they were up 2-0 at home against Marseille in Europa League, and they ended up drawing 3-3.
Right.
So it's just the tactics aren't there. Clearly, the club has lost faith. They fired their sporting director, who was not on speaking terms with the coach. Yeah, man, I don't know what's going on there. That's definitely something to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the one piece I'd add to this, and it's not that I'm watching the Eredivisie that often, but when you speak to the Dutch culture, it even reminds me a little bit of Italy. Small country with a big history and big expectations. Should there be such huge expectations given the size of their country? I don't really know. I mean, Italy, there should be bigger expectations than the Dutch, I think, a little bit, but still a storied country in football and haven't been close to the standards. I don't think the Dutch league has been close to, the standards that they would want. So you're going to get a lot of that. It's one of those passionate fan bases. I do feel it's similar though with Italy, where you get those like wacky fans, super passionate fans, disorganized sportingly, like uh, what do you want to call it? Like leagues, the equivalent to like the IGC in Italy. I don't know. I think they'll solve itself. These big historic clubs tend to go through some low lows and ultimately reach the highs again. But the situation is bizarre. The Tadic thing was the strangest one because he had been really good for a long time and stayed with them for a long time when he didn't have to. So to see him lead that way is tough. But ultimately, I think Ajax will find their way back. It's just tough times, which you've seen for other big European clubs lately. So
Dude, it was weird because I'm pretty sure he was club captain as well. He played
yeah,
so many games with them. And it's like the same thing as remember when Schmeichel did that? He was club captain for Leicester, then he left for like £1 million to Nice in the summer. And you were like, okay, something's up here.
yeah. What
Something's
happened? Yeah,
so that's kind of the same vibes I'm getting from Ajax. I'm not saying they're gonna get relegated. If Ajax got relegated in the Eredivisie, I think Netherlands would fall. I don't even know.
yeah. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
Something very crazy, and we need to keep an eye on that. But like you said, I want to very, very shortly touch on this because I know we got other stuff to talk about, like Inter and how well they're doing. But you talk about big clubs falling. Uh, Chelsea, man. Oh my goodness. Chelsea set at 14th, and I want to just real quick just say this. October 21st is the first game after the international break. They play Arsenal. Here's Chelsea's fixture list after that game. So I'll say Arsenal, Brentford, Spurs, City, Newcastle, Brighton, United, Everton. And then
So they're getting relegated.
that was 8 games. Genuinely, maybe Everton is the only game they win. I like this will be insane. And imagine just if they fire Poch like they've done every other manager, fire him after a very
I
bad.
know.
They're back to square one with needing a new manager, needing new tactics. Their assistant coach Bruno Saltor, who I think took over a couple games last year, he left secretly a couple weeks ago. He's left. He was like I think Poch's top assistant. Like, what the hell is going on at Chelsea? Todd Bowley, go do one. Yeah. Romeo Lavia, Moises Caicedo. The grass isn't always greener, brothers. It's just not.
Why did they make those choices? I mean, Caicedo especially. You were doing so freaking well. Like he was an integral piece
Mm-hmm.
to Brighton's success last season, right? And now you see how great De Zerbi is because they can move on without him. Why go from a team that was thriving to a team that's like clearly going to need a rebuild? And they got some tough luck, I guess, with that Reese injury. But even him back in it, are they that much better? Like they can't put the ball in the back of the fucking net. That's the end of the subject. Nico Jackson's got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
There's stuff he's doing right, no question about it. But he's not gonna fucking score more than 10 goals this season in all competitions.
Yeah.
Like I picked Chelsea to go fourth, which I will continue to like be pissed at myself for. But I also did that thinking there's no way they don't go with another striker and Nico Jackson too. And they just stuck with Nico. It's like I don't know how you just do that. Like he had obviously been proven at Villarreal last season, but he just had his first great season at a like upper mid-ish table team in Spain.
Dude. And because they thought they were gonna get Vlahovic, and then Vlahovic said, "No, no, no, I'm staying in Turin." Like,
No, bro, it's worse. It's worse than that. Pochettino said no. Chelsea had agreed. Okay, we need to get fucking Lukaku out of here. And Pochettino thought Vlahovic wasn't good enough.
I forgot about that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's literally what they miss, right? Like the complaint about Vlahovic is that playing for Juventus and playing under Allegri, it's preferred to have a striker who's a complete player, right? And isn't going to just worry about going and getting in position to score goals. But Vlahovic, that's what he does, dude. He just goes to get in position to score goals. And we've seen his finishing, head, right foot, left foot, obviously. Fantastic. So this would have been the exact file that they would have wanted to have. And
You
it could
know,
have
man.
given them some like flexibility too, because they could have played two strikers if they needed to, because they don't have the most reliable wingers right now. But
Yeah,
I mean,
especially with that Ukrainian guy.
dude,
Not.
dude, what a joke.
But yeah, dude. Obviously, like I said, we got more stuff to talk about, and one thing we definitely need to talk about is our the Saudi Pro League and how crazy that's been. I don't think I've tuned into a game just yet. I've watched a couple highlights. I know Al Ahly just played Al Nassr recently, but
Beautiful first goal. Very
yeah,
fair.
yeah, very fair. Mendy
Totally
could
fair.
definitely see the ball. That was so insane, dude.
That was so funny. For people who don't know what we're talking about, Cristiano Ronaldo scored the first goal of that game that Yanni's referring to. And you can clearly see on the replay, it's just a cloud of green smoke.
Yeah.
Like just in front of Mendy's goal. Edouard Mendy is literally just like completely blind to it. And to be fair, Ronaldo hits a rocket. Like the finish was actually fantastic. Maybe he just had the confidence. He's just like, yeah, I'm gonna hit this shit as hard as I can.
I
He's
mean,
not
he
gonna be
had
able
to. He
to
had no
see
other
it.
choice.
Well, it's like if I just put it anywhere on goal, he ain't gonna see it. Like, but
But yeah, Matt, our discussion before the show today was what is the best 11 of the Saudi League? You go first, tell us your formation and tell us the players.
yeah, for sure. So obviously, I'll mention who I left out. Um, but I'd say for starters, I had to go with Bono, the Sevilla goalkeeper. I know you could go with Mendy too, but you look at his success in the Europa League just even recently, his success in the World Cup. I was pretty surprised to see that move. Same time, I think he's 31 years old. Like certainly can be forgiven for cashing out on a very nice career in club football in Europe. So I go with him at goalkeeper. I couldn't find a right back from Europe that's moved. So I'd say, there's this 24-year-old player, Abdul Hamid, who's probably one of the better right backs in the league. Um, he plays for Al Hilal, and I threw him into the 11. I'll go with Amaric Laporte at center back next to Koulibaly. Two guys that should be playing in Europe.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
for
well,
sure.
Laporte should have. I thought he was going to go for a Tottenham type of a team. There were even some rumors that Juventus could have been in it with him for him. Um, and then Koulibaly. I mean, just no excuse for how bad he was at Chelsea last season. I mean, I say that, and then there's plenty of excuses for real, but he just didn't live up to it. And this move just shows you his level of competitiveness after leaving Napoli. I'll go with Alex Telles as my left back. Um, Again, not many other options from a fullback perspective. Midfield, there were tons. And by the way, the who I could have gone with at center back, I could have gone with Demiral as well.
Mhm.
Um, Brozovic is my six. Another guy who maybe at this point in his career, right, he's accomplished and achieved everything he needed to with Inter and Croatia. Totally understand that. Maybe you move to a smaller club with a little less pressure. That could have been possible, but he also could have moved to a bigger club. I mean, Brozovic is a fantastic, fantastic
He
player.
was
And I don't think
captain
there are,
last.
what's up?
He was captain last year.
Not many people that can play the six the way he does. Um, so pretty disappointing move there. Milinkovic Savic. I mean, we know where he would have ended up if he didn't go to Saudi, but terrible move. And you're in the prime of your career, right? You could have gone to a Premier League club. You could have gone to Juventus. I'll go with Fofana next to him. I mean, yeah, I'm leaving out Conte, Fabinho, Kessié, all guys who I was really surprised to see go to Saudi.
Mhm.
But Fofana in particular was like, it felt like he had been trending up, trending up, trending up. Very surprising to see him not make a move from France over to, maybe the Premier League, probably La Liga or Serie A. Um, and then my front three, Gabby Vega. I mean, I'll let Tony Cruz sum it up. It's embarrassing. He was gonna go to Napoli, one of the young talents in the world, and if this is what you want, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Benzema, no qualms with him going to the Saudi league. Obviously Mitrovic went as well.
Mhm.
By the way, midfielder, I forgot Ruben Neves. Like maybe he's in your list, so I
Yeah.
won't spend too time on it. Um, Neymar, my final to round out my 11. I mean, it makes me mad.
Yeah.
like, it makes me mad. You never like to see like when you like the sport, in my opinion, unless you just are all about the agenda, which I get. Sometimes it's funny. If you like the sport, you like to see good players thriving. And Neymar was one of the best, most talented players I ever watched. His legacy is what it is at this point. So
Yeah.
that's my 11. One final time. Bono, Abdulhamid, Laporte, Koulibaly, Telles, Brozovic, Milinkovic, Savic, Fabana, Neymar, Benzema, Gabi Vega.
All right. So I kind of switched it up. I kind of threw a wild card in there.
Let's
Just
go.
like you, where the hell were the right backs? So I just went with a 3-5-2,
I
but
was thinking of doing that too. Yeah,
both left mid and right mid, not like the DeMarco, like Gosens type thing. They would be more attacking, and I would kind of rely on the six to like help out a lot. So
totally understand. Yep.
that was my going for because I just couldn't leave some of these guys out. I just couldn't. So I'll also go Bonu, goalkeeper, my Moroccan. Love the guy to death. Would have definitely loved to see him play in Europe a little longer, but he's won a lot. He's going to be well known in Morocco forever.
Yep.
That's for sure. Uh,
Agreed.
Muslim country, Muslim guy. It is what it is. He's kind of older. We let it
You can
rock.
do it. Yep.
Same with Koulibaly. That's my next guy. Obviously, who's had a career of being very good in Italy. Could have still been very good in Italy to this day, I feel like. But Chelsea move didn't really work to his best. What, four different coaches in 1 year? Uh, just wasn't working for him. Goes to a Muslim country. Khalidu is also Muslim. We let it
Yep.
rock. Let him do his thing. Meri Demiral, I swore. My brother also as well swore he was Juve's future at center back at one point.
Me too.
Um, we all thought Demiral and Delit was the pairing for the next five,
Yep.
6 years. Clearly didn't happen. But I'm putting him in this back three. And there's got to be a ball playing center back in here somewhere, and that's Ian Laporte, guy who's been in Pep system for a long time, plays for the Spanish team as well. I think he's probably a guaranteed starter on that team.
For sure.
Why not? Demiral, Laporte, Koulibaly sounds like a decent back three to me. Left mid makes me sad to this day that he's even on this freaking list. Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. Dude, heartbreaking, because you see this guy play for Brazil and he still got it.
Yeah, one
He's
of the best players in the world.
it hurts so bad, but yeah, he's at Al Hilal. We have to live with it now. Surprisingly, I did not go with Jordan Henderson in my
Surprisingly.
Hendinho, but no, I went for Frank Kessié at the center mid spot. At the six, I went N'Golo Kante, a guy who can run his legs off, almost pick Brozovic because he can do the same thing as well.
Yep.
But I think just overall, I think Kante is a better player.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was hard. I almost went SMS here, but I went Ruben Neves, youngest Champions League captain ever for Porto. Uh, Goes to Wolves. I was like, okay, maybe that's a weird kind of move because they were in the championship at the time. Brings them to the Premier League, obviously. And every summer we're thinking, all right, Neves is gonna make this move. He's gonna make this move. Liverpool were linked with him. A couple of the clubs. I could have definitely seen him at an Atletico Madrid for sure. I think he would have thrived there, but goes to Saudi. I mean, fair enough, I guess. Do your thing, bro. Uh,
Yeah.
I would have loved to see him not do that because he's still relatively young, still has a lot of talent. I think he's a guaranteed guy in the 11 for Portugal as well. So I was kind of disappointed in the move, but hey, who am I to tell this dude what to fucking do, you know?
Yeah. I say that, and I'm also just like, I don't know, man. I was like seeing videos of Ronaldo just getting hounded by the fans in Saudi, and it's like, does this look like a really fun place? Like, I don't know.
I guess you just got to let that check put a smile on your face for a little bit and then just keep
I,
going. That's
I know. I get that, right? But like, be you're a footballer, so you get a chance to live life to
Mhm.
the total fullest. And if it's about money, it's about money. But like, if you want to experience things, playing in Europe's the best. You get to experience all these amazing cultures. People treat you like a god, and I know they treat people like they definitely treat them like a god in Saudi Arabia. But I mean, I don't want to get too much into the politics of Saudi Arabia, but it's like it's just objectively like not the friendliest place for a lot of people, particularly women. Um, but either way, I don't know. It's an interesting place, man. We could probably get into the maybe it's worth it to take even a whole episode to get into the the deep aspects of the culture in Saudi and some of the problems, um, and how it might impact the future of that league because their next step is to go to the Champions League, right? Like that's what's going to get them to grow into one of the biggest leagues in the world. Um, but there's going to be some roadblocks, and frankly, I wouldn't be opposed to it. So,
And yeah, I mean, nice little, black and white over that rainbow armband, the Jordan Henderson announcement video.
and that's another perfect example of marginalized people. It's like you're going to be more marginalized in Saudi Arabia. Like, it's not a good place. Like, again, we don't need to go into too much right
It
now,
is what
but
it is, bro.
yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of them are living outside the country because they're in Saudi. It's like not the culture there. You can't live with someone who's not your wife. So I think they're living in the neighboring country. Is it Bahrain? I'm not really sure which one, but yeah, wild.
yeah. I mean, there you go. It's like they're basically still imposing Sharia law in the country. So it's like I don't know. Again, it's so interesting and so complex that you could probably take a whole hour
Mhm.
to talk on that.
I'll go. So for my right mid, I'll go my legend. I miss you so much, man. Sadio Mane, who was
Damn, yeah.
the definition of the Klopp winger, pressing, finishing, passing, dribbling, everything. Everything you wanted in a winger, Sadio Mane was and is. Unfortunate how what happened at Bayern. He started off really well, had that injured
Yep.
before the World Cup, comes back in. Leroy Sané is a prick.
I was gonna say, I feel like that was the downfall.
Yeah, and it is what it is. I'm happy he left because I dislike Bayern in general. So like I kind of had a soft spot for them because Sadio was there, but now I can fully go back to just hating them at all times. Even though I love
Musiala is so lovable, though.
Listen, I like Musiala. I like Musiala, I like Kingsley Coman, and I like Alfonso Davies. Besides that, oh, also I want De Ligt to come to Liverpool and complete Dutch FC. That'd be
I
great.
would be happy about that. Yeah.
But yeah, happy he's gone from there because I just don't like the team in general.
Yeah, me too.
And then my two strikers up top, I mean, it's kind of hard not to put these guys. So I'll go Karim Benzema as my one striker, and then beside him, Cristiano Ronaldo. So that is my 3-5-2 Saudi League best 11. To repeat again, Bonu, Koulibaly, Demiral, Ayemic Laporte, Neymar left mid, Kessié, Kante, Neves in the midfield, Sadio Mane on the right, CR7 and Benzema up top. Players out that I missed out on that I almost put in, Riyad Mahrez. I wanted to put
Yep.
him in there, but I just think Sadio Mane is a better football player. And before coming to Liverpool, Mane definitely played a lot of right wing. Um, ASM is one of the best dribblers in the world. I was so sad.
I wanted to, I just wanted to leave Ronaldo out because we've heard enough about that guy. I was going to either put in St. Maximin or Vega, and I put in Vega.
Has Dave entered the Zoom now? No. Okay. All right. Yeah. Listen. Shout out Dave. We love you, bro. But
Dave is just, he still loves Ronaldo so much. I admire it. That's his boy. I get it.
I mean, listen, I love me some CR7 as well. But yeah, he's just I mean, Saudi League guy now. It is what it is.
Yep.
But yeah, that's my Saudi 11. Um, that's about it for me, brother. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. We could talk about, let's see, what?
I mean, we were going to talk Inter real quick, but I could just really, really quickly breeze through that if you want.
Go ahead, bro. Floor is yours.
Well, it's kind of an unfortunate realization I think I've had in the past couple weeks. I'm a Juve fan. I've always been more on the side of if another team has to win, I'd prefer it to be Milan than Inter. I just hate Inter so much. They were the main antagonists as far as getting us kicked out of Serie A in 2006. Everything they do is to try and what downplay Juventus. And this season, the reality is they kicked AC Milan's ass, and we knew that AC Milan had some weaknesses in that midfield defensively. Now we really know. And you look at Juventus, started off the season pretty well. I mean, thoroughly embarrassing performance against Sassuolo, 4-2 loss. Um, a
Big game.
loss that was so bad. You're right. Yeah, we've got to bounce back against a team that's actually playing well. Um, and 4-2 loss, and one that was so bad that I don't even think the worst own goal I've ever seen even matters in that loss. It was that bad. So with Napoli in an even worse place in Serie A, probably about to fire their coach 5 weeks into the season, Inter are just about to run away with the Scudetto. And they are a phenomenal team, dude.
They are. They just
14 goals allowed. 14 goals scored, one allowed in Serie A. Their back three of Pavard, Acerbi, and Bastoni with Sommer in goal is an outstanding back three. Midfield of Fratesi, Hakan, Barella, or Mkhitaryan instead of Fratesi, and put Fratesi in off the bench. So balanced, such a strong midfield. Dumfries and DeMarco, two of the best wing backs in the world. And then Lautaro Martinez in the best form of his life, unselfish. His finishing's improved. Marcus Thuram showing how well-rounded he is, how good a player he is already. They have more depth than any team in Serie A. They can keep the ball when they have to. They can sit back and defend and then hit you on the break and play any way they want. And they don't have any weaknesses as far as I'm concerned. The rest of these teams that I mentioned, the ones that can really fight for the title, Milan, Juve, Napoli, they have too many fucking weaknesses. So, unfortunately, they're about to run away with Serie A. Not that complicated to say, but it's something that as a Juve fan, I just kind of had to come to grips with, and it's the way it is.
It is, bro. And even with Arnautovic going down with an injury, like Inzaghi said, they can play Klaassen up there. They can play, other players up there. Like I don't even know who else is Dude, I'm trying to think who else can play the attacking role. I mean, are they gonna throw like Charlie Nolu at the nine? Like I don't think
Well,
so.
they could
But
just play with one striker if
yeah,
they had to as well. I mean, they have so much attacking talent. If you look at that team, they can get goals from so many other guys. They can get goals from Duram, Lautaro, Fratesi, Carlos Augusto. Even he had 6 goals last
Cuadrado
season.
off the bench.
We know Barella will get goals.
Yeah,
Yeah, like they're just there's not a lot of weaknesses. So that's why they were my pick to win Serie A at the beginning of the year. Um, and they look like they're going to do it pretty easily. So yeah, kind of leaving this episode on a downer, but it's just it's worth being said. They look fantastic. They're gonna go far in the Champions League again too.
oh yeah, they're definitely gonna make another run. Matt, thank you so much, brother. Guys,
Thank
Matt
you.
Prisco is the engine to this show. It comes up with the topics, then we discuss. But listen, love doing these. Hopefully, we'll be able to find a way to be back next week, if not in the
Yep,
week after. But Matt, thank you, brother. Any last words to say to the people?
that's it. Fun episode.
Fun episode always. This is Yanni Sports Nation. Signing out.